The Audio-Technica AT2020 is a very popular microphone that I honestly did not like at first. I thought it sounded incredibly hollow and tinny for what it was, but that didn't last too long. After spending a good amount of time with this microphone, I'm finally ready to make my review in a much more fair manner. So let's go ahead and dive right in. For more great content just like this, just make sure to subscribe and then turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any uploads. Also, leave a like and a comment down below with all of your thoughts on this video. And while you're at it, I always leave affiliate links down below in the description as well. But make sure that you check out Lukrembo so you can find the best deals on all of that tech that you're shopping for. It's a simple browser extension that helps you make the best purchasing decision. And lastly, don't forget to check out my merch store if you're into some monochrome clothing like everything I'm wearing right here. So with that said, links to everything down below. And just as a quick disclaimer, every time that I review a brand new microphone, I always stream with that microphone on that exact same night that the video review goes up. So if you're interested in hearing what the Audio-Technica AT2020 sounds like on the live stream, then do make sure to stop by. Links to my Twitch are going to be down below. Please make sure not to miss it if you have the time. Now with that said, let's get straight into the review. And as always, let us begin with an unboxing. Inside of the box, you will find the microphone itself, the mounting system for it, and the high quality leather pouch, as well as some instructions as per usual. It's not the nicest unboxing on earth, but it is actually pretty good, and the padded bag is quite nice. And now, the exterior design of this microphone does consist entirely of metal, and I do mean for the entirety of this build. It's not going to be that heavy of a microphone at all, and it's definitely pretty small too, especially in comparison to a lot of other XLR mics in the business, but the build is still pretty nice, and it's hefty enough for sure. I don't really have a lot of complaints about the build at all. And this is a very nice looking microphone too that certainly looks and feels like it is worth the money. You won't find any switches or anything like that on this microphone, but only the XLR port on the bottom. So that is essentially everything that you get with it. And this is a cardioid condenser microphone, and it's going to be side addressed as well. It's got a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, a sensitivity of negative 37 decibels, and since it is a condenser microphone, it is going to require an extra 48 volts of phantom power as well. So meaning you can't just use it as it is, you do need to have an interface that can actually power it properly. And now, also as a heads up, I ended up picking up this nifty little shock mount and pop filter for this microphone specifically from a third-party seller on Amazon. Links to that are going to be in the description too, because it was pretty cheap and honestly it does a pretty good job at what it's meant to do. So why not just go ahead and pick it up, right? Now this whole time, you've been listening to what this microphone sounds like completely unfiltered, while directly just connected to my Yamaha MG10XU mixer and with the plus 48 volt switch turned on to properly power this microphone. So far, I would say that it actually does a surprisingly good job at rejecting sounds, or at least the sounds you will hear in the background just won't sound really quite as aggressive as what you might hear from a lot of USB condenser microphones on the other hand. This microphone does a much better job at sound rejection than those, even though it is still a condenser microphone. So this, on its own, is a pretty big upgrade in that regard, and I would consider it a fantastic one for being the kind of microphone that it is. I would describe the sound coming from this microphone as still being a little bit thin for the most part, but on its own, it does still sound pretty good without any boost whatsoever beyond what it's actually needed for it to work. Now, I will be doing an EQ test soon, but before that, this is what this microphone is going to sound like with a really big and loud AC in the room. You will definitely still hear it, not as a whisper, but more aggressively or like there's an actual air conditioner in the room. But this is a condenser microphone after all, so it is also expected really. It is always best that you record in a sound treated room when using a condenser microphone regardless. This room is barely sound treated at all beyond just having a little bit of soundproof foams on my door, but that's essentially it. And now after doing some EQing with this microphone and my mixer, such as raising the compression by around 25% I would say, of what this mixer is actually capable of raising in general, and I also raised the highs a little bit, and I raised the lows as well, while lowering the mids just a little bit because I thought that it was a little bit too enhanced in that regard. You do get a brighter, nicer sound in my opinion that does still sound suitable for broadcast purposes, and that does suit people with deeper voices such as myself a little bit better than what I was getting before. And this is just with pretty basic EQing So that is just worth noting, that you don't have to do too much in order to get a decent sound out of this that can work with your voice, of course. And so I'm fairly happy with the sound coming from it thus far. But as for complaints, I actually don't have that many, but they still exist and are important to mention. For one, I do still hear that thinness coming from this microphone, which I don't immediately love, and for me, it's not the most flattering sound, at least when used with my own voice. So for me, an EQ is necessary to get a great sound out of it, which means more expensive hardware to make the most out of it. And that is just worth noting. The other thing that this microphone has that really bothers me is that this microphone does very poorly in regards to plosives, from my experience at least. Even with a pop filter from normal speaking distance like this, and you can still hear some rather aggressive plosives when I speak into it and I mention any P's or any B's or anything like that, though it happens more so when I don't do it on purpose. So yeah, I'm sure that you've been hearing those all throughout this review, so it was worth noting. However, truth be told, that's really all I've got. This microphone honestly does sound pretty good for the money, and the accessories for it are pretty cheap too. Yes, you do need a quality interface that can supply enough power to this microphone, but you don't specifically need a mixer per se, because you can make the changes in post using something like Audition or Audacity or something like that. You don't necessarily need hardware to make those changes in the sound work or to use any kind of equalizer. I just prefer to have those hardware controls personally, which is why I opted for a mixer here. So would I recommend this microphone? Yes I do. It is a great value for what it is, though I definitely recommend that you pick up the shock mount and the pop filter for it as well, because plosives are still an issue and the shock mount actually does an amazing job avoiding shocks. So yes, highly recommended. And if you're interested in purchasing this microphone, then I'll be making sure to leave affiliate links down to Amazon in the description. So if you end up using any of my links, I do get a small commission that helps me run things just a little bit more smoothly. You will also find links to the shock mount and the pop filter in the description too, so do make sure to use those, because I do recommend getting that combination in tandem. And also, I recommend that you get this awesome browser extension called Luster that is going to allow you to essentially make very quick comparisons of different microphones within like different price ranges and that kind of thing. And it's going to give you a ranking based off of which microphones are the most popular within all of the reviews that they were able to find all across the web. And it's going to be a non-intrusive browser extension, so I strongly recommend that you get it because it can only do you favors. So links to that are also going to be below. And also, again, if you would like to hear what this microphone sounds like on a live stream with my AC turned on, for example, or what it sounds like with other types of audio going, like music, gameplay audio, and that sort of thing, then do make sure to stop by my live stream. Links to that are going to be found in the description because, well, I think that it would be a great learning experience for all of us. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well, because those are also important. Thank you so much for jumping in to this review, and I very much hope that this was a helpful one. This has been Francisco from Tech Summit, signing out, and I will be seeing you all on the next one. Enjoy.